Hello and welcome back to my kitchen, back to doing a recipe for you. Last week I did the Ask Me Anything answers, so if you haven't checked that out, I'll put a link to that in the description box below and you can go and have a watch of that. But this time around I'm making some cakes for you again. So I'm going to be doing a really simple but really tasty flavour, and it is Mint Choc Chip cupcakes. Now Mint Choc Chip is one of those classic flavour combinations that just works. I don't know why, it just does, and it really reminds me of being a kid. I think one of my first ever food memories was making those little peppermint cream things rolled in chocolate strands, so it's a real good reminiscent one for me. So I'm going to start by making the chocolate mint cupcakes, and it's a simple recipe. You don't even need an electric mixer or even electric whisk for this. You just need a bowl, a sieve and a regular whisk. I'm going to start by mixing my dry ingredients together, and I have 140 grams of plain flour, and I'm going to add 185 grams of caster sugar, and then 30 grams of good quality cocoa powder. And to help it rise and be all nice and fluffy, I'm adding a half teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, and then just to bring a bit of the flavour out, a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. And that just needs to be shuffled through the sieve. And then I'm adding 40 grams of good quality chocolate chips. I've just used dark chocolate, which I've chopped up. And then I'll put that to one side until I need it. Next, I'm going to mix my wet ingredients together. I'm going to start with some buttermilk, and I've got 125 grams of that. And then I've got 100 millilitres of vegetable oil. You can use sunflower oil or any colourless, flavourless oil is good. And then the next ingredient, whenever I do this, causes a little bit of controversy, and it is coffee. I've got 120 millilitres of cold coffee, which I've just brewed and left to cool down. And a lot of you, whenever I put this in my chocolate cake, say, oh, I don't like coffee, and I don't want to put coffee in because I don't like coffee flavour. But you're not going to have a coffee flavoured cake, I promise you. All this is going to do is enhance the flavour of the chocolate to give you a real rich chocolatey flavour. It's not going to be coffee flavoured, so don't worry. And then it needs one large free-range egg. And then anywhere between a quarter and a half teaspoon of peppermint extract. You don't want to put too much in because you don't want it to be really medicinal or, you know, make people's eyes water when they're about to eat it. So just a small amount of this. And then mix that all together with your whisk. Now this doesn't take much, just to combine it. And the next step is to add your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients and make sure that's really well mixed too. Now it doesn't take much mixing, it just needs to have a couple of seconds. And as you can see, apart from the chocolate chips, it is really nice and smooth, so it's ready to be put into a jug, which will just make it a lot easier to put it into your cupcake cases. So just decant it into your jug and then fill your 12 cupcake cases nice and evenly. And then that just needs to be baked at 160 degrees C for 22 to 25 minutes until they're nice and springy on the top. While my cakes are baking, I am going to make the buttercream, and I'm going to be making one batch of buttercream but splitting it into two different flavours. Both are going to be minty, but one's going to be green minty and the other is going to be chocolate mint, so really, really nice. Starting with 150 grams of soft unsalted butter, and as usual, you want to beat that for about 5 minutes until it's really pale and fluffy. Now it's time to add the icing sugar, and I have 340 grams of sifted icing sugar, which as usual I'll be adding in 2 stages, beating for about 3 or 4 minutes in between each stage. Now it's ready to have the milk put in. So I'm just going to pour 3 tablespoons of milk and also a quarter of a teaspoon of peppermint extract. And give that a really thorough beating. Right, that is ready, but it is pretty boring. It's boring and white, and it's definitely not 2 flavours yet. So I am going to start by putting half into a bowl, just half of this mixture. I'm going to keep it rough because I don't want to get my scales out again. And that portion is going to be made green, a nice minty green colour. And I'm just going to be using some green colour paste for this, mint green, so it's already half the work done. And I'm going to add quite a small amount, I don't want it to be mega green. And then the next bit is optional, but I think it looks really cute, and that is to add some chocolate chips, or I'm actually using these chocolate splitter decorations, just to give it a kind of ice creamy mint choc chip look. And with that all thoroughly mixed, you can turn your attention to the chocolate part of this equation. So get the rest of your icing into another bowl. And then add 75 grams of dark melted chocolate. I've melted it and cooled it slightly so it doesn't melt through my buttercream. And just add that and mix it all through really thoroughly. And now with both my icings ready, I'm going to wait for my cakes to finish baking, wait for them to cool, and then decorate them. I'm back and it is decorating time. I've already put my Mint Choc Chip and my Mint Choc buttercream into 2 separate piping bags and snipped the ends off. And now I'm going to do what I have sometimes done before to get a really nice crisp swirl, and that's to put both of these piping bags into a bigger piping bag, this beast. You guys always ask me where I get my piping bags, and of course I just steal them from work, but you can probably order these online. Just do a search for disposable clear piping bags, or sometimes you like my pink ones, so just do a search for them. I'm sure you'll find them in a good decorating website. So I'm just going to put these 2 smaller piping bags into that one and shuffle them down to the bottom. So make sure that both of the tips are in your nozzle so that they are distributing icing into that. And then when you twist it at the top, make sure you twist all 3 piping bags at once, otherwise they're going to have a horrendous mess at the top here. So just like that. And first of all, make sure that it's working and it's going to come out. And now you can go ahead and decorate your cupcakes with a nice swirl of green and brown icing. And they look pretty cool as they are, but to finish them off, I'm just going to give them a little drizzle of chocolate ganache, or you can just use melted chocolate if you want, and then a sprinkling of chocolate beads. And that is it. It's a Crumbs Doilies classic. This has been on the menu for a very, very long time, and you guys love it when you come in store. So we'll be having these in the shop this weekend, so go ahead and check those out if you're in the area. And I hope you make these. If you do, let me know by tagging me or using hashtag Cupcake Jemma over on Instagram. And if you don't already follow me on Instagram, then please do, because I love having you follow me guys around doing stuff. And now I'm going to eat it, but in the meantime, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget that I have launched my first range of merch, and you can check all of the stuff that's available out at www.cupcakejemma.com. See you next week. That was messy.